Thornton here. Today I want to show you how to make my shepherd's pie. And shepherd's pie is talked about a lot about being dry and bland. We're going to do our best to make sure that doesn't happen. Now, mashed potatoes are the backbone, I guess, of shepherd's pie. So we're going to make our best mashed potatoes. Okay, now let me go over the ingredients with you. All right, first of all, for the mashed potatoes, I've got 2 good-sized russet potatoes. Now, the recipe I'm doing today is cut in half. I'm gonna cut it in half, and because I'm just cooking for 2 people. So if you make this for your family, you're gonna wanna double everything. Use at least 3 large russet potatoes, maybe 4. All right, so anyway, we're gonna start off by making some really good mashed potatoes. All right, in my mashed potatoes, I got 2 russet potatoes. I've got a 1/3 cup of Parmesan cheese. I've got 1 tablespoon of butter. I've got 2 tablespoons of heavy whipping cream. And after the potatoes cool off, before we put them on the shepherd's pie, I'm gonna put the yolk out of 1 egg on there. Now, when we're making these potatoes, we wanna make sure that they're not soupy or over moist. We'd rather them be just a little bit drier than we would like them on our plate with, with a different dish. But we want to make sure that they don't melt and seep down into the meat on the shepherd's pie. So when you're making the mashed potatoes, just make them just a little bit dry, okay? So add your liquids to the potatoes a little at a time till you get them like you want it. All right, now for the shepherd's pie, of course we got the mashed potatoes, and then we're gonna put a half a carrot. I've got 1 tablespoon of a good dash of Worcestershire sauce, 2 tablespoons of ketchup. I've got 3/4 of a pound of ground beef. I've got half of a medium size onion. I've got 1 good nice clove of garlic. We've got half a cup of green sweet peas. We've got half a cup of corn. We've got 1 good tablespoon of all-purpose flour. And we're gonna use, some of the recipes, people use chicken broth. Now, the shepherd's pie is made with beef, so I'm use beef broth. We're gonna use a half a cup of water and 1 beef bouillon cube. And then of course we got salt and pepper, and we'll end up putting a dash of cayenne in there also. So I've got just a little bit of prep work to do, and then we'll start cooking. Now, we also need to preheat the oven to 400 degrees. Once we get this all together, we will bake the shepherd's pie for 20 to 25 minutes. Now, I also do not have out here right now some cheddar cheese. The last 5 minutes of the baking process, we're gonna put a 1/4 cup of cheddar cheese on top of the pies. Now, if you make the whole recipe, you're gonna wanna use at least a 9x13 casserole dish. Today, I'm gonna use 4 of these 16-ounce ramekin dishes. And so if you're making the whole thing, doubling the recipe for your family, you're gonna wanna use a bigger casserole dish. So anyway, I got a little bit of prep work to do, and then we'll get to cooking. All right, I've got all the vegetables prepped, and now we want to make our mashed potatoes. Now, I don't know if you'd noticed during the prep work, but I slice the potatoes instead of cubing them in the water to make the mashed potatoes. They just cook quicker. All right, we're gonna put these on to boil and let the potatoes boil for, I don't know, 10 minutes or so until they're tender. And we wanna go ahead and make the mashed potatoes first because they need to cool down before we can put the egg in there. All right, so I'll be back with you in about 10 minutes or so after the potatoes are done. All right, our potatoes have been boiling for right at 10 minutes. They cook pretty doggone fast when you slice them thin. Yes, they are done. All right, we're gonna turn this off. Get all this water out. Get as much of that water out as we can. That would be the oven preheating to 400 degrees. Don't want to waste any. All right, now we know for sure we want the butter. We want the cream too, but we're not sure how much. So we're gonna go ahead with the butter in there and get these rascals going. They're pretty dry right now, so everything's looking good. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put most of this cream in. And let's see what we got. Still pretty dry, so there's not much cream left. I'm just gonna go ahead and put, that was about 2 tablespoons of heavy cream. We don't want them to be, you know, dry. We just don't want them to be runny or thin. All right, now let's go ahead. We're gonna put the 1/3 cup of Parmesan cheese in there. And just mash that around a little bit more. We want to put all this stuff in while it's hot, but we got to let them cool off before we put the egg in. We don't want the egg to cook when we put it in there. All right, the potatoes look really good. They're not runny and they're not super dry. All right, now we're gonna set these over here and let them cool with the top off. We want them to cool as much as possible. All right, we're gonna get this meat going. All right, we're gonna start with just a little bit of oil. And go ahead and put our ground beef in. Now I want to brown this ground beef just till it's just gets done so we can get any fat off of it that we don't want. Induction works quick. All right, I'm gonna brown this meat till it just gets done so I can pour the fat off of it, and then we'll be ready to add all our other ingredients. All right, the ground beef is just brown. We're gonna go ahead and pour, there's a small amount of grease on here. We're just gonna pour that out. All right, we got the meat ready. It's not overcooked, it's just done. So the first thing we want to do now is add our flour. And just kind of just stir that in a little bit with the meat. All right, and the carrots take the longest to cook, so we want to get them on in there. Let them start heating up. Go ahead and add our onions. All right, let's saute those carrots and onions for a few minutes and help them carrots get done. All right, I put a cover on this just to kind of help them carrots cook a little bit faster. The carrots and the onions are coming along really good. We're going to give this just another minute or so and we'll add the rest of our ingredients. All right, the meat with the carrots and the onions have been sitting here simmering for about 3 or 4 minutes. At this time, we're going to go ahead and press our garlic in there. Can't go wrong with garlic. All right, now we want to go ahead and hit it with some salt and pepper. Dash of cayenne. All right, we want to get this bouillon cube in there. I like to throw that in there and let it get just a little bit of heat on it and moisture. Doesn't take long at all. And then you can just crush it with the spoon. It just turns into powder. All right, we're gonna go ahead and add our peas. One Soul Survivor. And our corn. All right, going to go ahead and add our half a cup of water. And the ketchup. All right, got a little bit on me. It ain't no good or fun if you don't get a little bit on you. All right, we're gonna heat this on up. I'm cooking it right at 6 right now. We're gonna stir this together. Now we wanna let this simmer for a few minutes. Mix it up good, let that flour have a chance to thicken everything up just a little bit. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put the lid back on here. And we're gonna let that simmer for just a few minutes, and then we'll be ready to add the last ingredient, our Worcestershire sauce, work on our mashed potatoes, and then put it together for the oven. All right, I removed the lid to let it cook down just a little bit, let it reduce just a little bit. Everything's looking really good. The only thing we got to add is our Worcestershire sauce, and we will be done with this part. All right, the meat and vegetables have been cooking for just about a total of about 5 minutes, not very long. We're going to add our Worcestershire sauce, just about 1.5 teaspoons, a good dash of Worcestershire sauce. Let's incorporate that in there just a little bit. All right, we've done about all we can do to that, so let's turn that off and let's finish the mashed potatoes. Now, I'm also going to add a dash of garlic powder to the potatoes, which I didn't earlier. Just a good little dash of garlic powder. We want to make these taste as good as we can. All right, I got a spoon ready. We're just going to add the yolk. All right, our potatoes have cooled off considerably. So let's stir this yolk into the potatoes. You can see a little bit of that Parmesan cheese in there as you're stirring, which is fantastic. All right, just stir that egg in there good. All right, now we also want to add some salt to the potatoes. All right, our potatoes are ready. Our meat is ready. So we're going to take our 4 dishes and I'm going to put 1 big spoon in each dish. That 1 pea keeps jumping ship. We're just gonna spread this evenly among the 4. Smells good. Looks good. All right. Run a little water in that. All right, we got that spread among the dishes. So now we just need to put 1 good layer of these Parmesan mashed potatoes on top. Be just the right amount. All right, now let's just spread this out. Try to seal it up. That 1 pea, you got to get in there. All right, that pea's trying to get away. Not. All right. Making me hungry. All right, spread them mashed potatoes around there. Yep. All right, now we're just going to put these in the oven and bake for 20 minutes. All right, we're going to bake those for 20 minutes. And then we will put the cheese on top and another 5 minutes, and then we'll be ready to eat. All right, there's the timer on the 20 minutes. We're gonna put the cheese on top now. I've got a cup of cheese here. I'm gonna put like a quarter of a cup on the top of each one. All right, they're looking really good. We're going to set the timer for 5 more minutes, and then we'll be ready to take these rascals out and put them on the table. All right, we got about 4 seconds left. 3, 2, 1, bam. Our shepherd's pie has been baking at 400 degrees for a total of 25 minutes. I want to take these out. Now I gotta say this, it's really good stuff. Well, there you have Dave's Shepherd Pie. Once again, I'm David Thornton. I appreciate you watching, and most of all, I hope you enjoy the food. Thank you.